Hello. did you
Hello.
did you just read my message?
I just got the ping on it. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I just learned something interesting, and
Me too.
there's a convite that's been apparently now banned from Facebook. And
Bye.
more on the story by Deana.
Well, I just forwarded what I just read. So it
Mhm.
looks like Chris Stacy is permanently banned from Facebook. Not- and he announced it on a TikTok, so I have to check out this TikTok. Hey,
I
you know.
say let's check out the TikTok together.
Yeah, so apparently the TikTok is of somebody who went missing that was found. So, and then he announced that he's been permanently banned on Facebook. Are you looking for it, Joe?
I'm looking. I remember something about him being on TikTok.
Okay,
I'm
let
trying
me
to
see
see
if
if I
I
can
can
find it.
get.
Oh, there we
Uh,
go. I found him.
can you send the TikTok?
I've got the account, but I'm not seeing anything about like right now. Like the last video, I see something about POEC, and that was posted a day ago. Maybe. Oh, you said it's with a missing person.
Yeah, something to do with a missing freedomer, but that freedomer has been found. Oh, it was sent to me. Can I forward it to you?
I've got it right here. Got it right here.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's take a look at this. Who else wants to see this? You know what? Let's enjoy it together.
Yeah, this is a reaction.
Honest reaction. Absolutely. So we want. Nope, that's not
Hey,
the one.
hey,
That's
Casey
it.
here. So I've got a bit of news. A friend of ours is missing. JP Jean Pierre Dagenet. He's described as 6 foot, heavy built, short brown hair. It says last seen in Russell, Ontario, the morning of November 29th. I saw him that evening. He was at Bikers Church Men's Ministry that evening. So as far as I know, that was the last he was seen leaving Bikers Church on Thursday night. His car was found near Morrisburg, and people are quite worried about him. So there's a couple of pictures here too. That's a more recent picture. That's about his build now, and if he has a beard, and that's him clean shaven. So there's quite a few people. He's a member of Bikers Church. He's quite big in the freedom movement, and the freedom family, and he's got some family and friends that are quite worried about him. So if anyone has any information, please contact the OPP if they've seen him or know anything. And I'm actually blocked on Facebook right now, so I can't share this there, but I can get messages. If anyone wants to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, whichever, however, I'd be happy to relay any messages to and see if we can't hopefully find JP well. So for now, I'm just going to, I guess we just pray and hope hope for the best. Thanks. Hey, Casey here. So I've got a
Oops.
bit of news. A friend of ours is missing.
Shut that down.
He said, sorry, I don't know if my computer's going to die, so I might have to join back in.
That's okay.
Oh, there it is. Now it's charging.
Right.
Well, he said he's off Facebook. So he didn't quite say he's permanently banned. I didn't catch that. Did you catch that? I heard him say, I'm currently blocked from Facebook. That's what he said. So is he permanently blocked?
No, he says he can't respond on Facebook right now. Looks like might need to adjust the censorship bots. I don't believe porn should be considered a censored word. Sorry about that, baby. But
You don't
luckily,
think
right
what
now
should
the
be
bot.
said?
Well, baby DeHall just said, porn again, Chris. I'm like,
Oh,
but so I turned on the cloud bot in case we start getting something like aggressive, and because I want to sort of censor sort of the more aggressive language,
okay.
like
Yeah.
Nazi language, kind of stuff like that. So, but of
So
course,
I
it's
don't,
also
it
I
doesn't
think
say he's permanently banned. I
no, it
think.
doesn't.
Okay. So
That's not what I got from there.
yeah, I didn't.
I think this is the second time that would be that he's been kicked off that we know of.
Oh, somebody sent me attachment unavailable because let me send it to you, Joe.
Sure.
Hopefully you can open it because I'd have to log out and go into my sock account to see it because I am blocked from Daisy's.
The only thing I got is all I got was the text saying attachment unavailable.
Oh, darn it.
Ask them to send it to me directly.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, this looks like it's probably the second time he's been banned. If I remember correctly, Facebook, I'm assuming most providers, they're going to have a limit. They're going to kick him off, and they're going to keep doing it. And after a while, they're going to notice a pattern. They're going to say, you know what? We're not going to let you turn into Alex Jones or whatever else. And that's it, permanent.
Oh, this is just it was a screenshot that was sent to me. JP has been found safe and sound thanks to everyone who shared and kept an eye out. So that's just confirmation that JP is okay.
Okay, that's good to know.
It is good.
He's because I mean, as much as we like to pick on Daisy because he kind of asks for it.
We don't want anybody hurt.
Oh, exactly. We don't want anybody hurt. We don't want anybody harmed. That's pretty much it. There's no serious harm there. So luckily JP's found. I mean, it's no idea in regards to the guy's history, whatnot.
He studied at the University of Ottawa.
Well, I'm just more concerned, like if he had any medical history or anything like that, as to why he was kind of missing. As long as he's fine, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So before to get into it, first thing, did not stream today because as soon as I saw the weather warnings, I was like,
nah, it wasn't that nice out. I went out for my daughter's friend's birthday. I mean, we were inside, but yeah, it was pretty windy and it was pretty hail and freezing rain and cold.
Exactly. So, I mean, and bringing a big boy camera into that whole mess, I'm like, I've got the weathering, but the weathering sort of is good for a certain degree from the sides. The lens is still exposed. So it's not too great if the wind's coming in horizontally, the rain's coming down, and all that other stuff. Sorry, my assistant wants to join.
Lady Deathstrike wanted to know what
yes.
happened. So we were just got a text or a message that Daisy was banned from Facebook, but and to check out the TikTok video, but the TikTok video said that he is blocked from Facebook. So we're not 100% sure if he's permanently banned. And the the TikTok post was basically Daisy looking for a missing friend who has since been found safe.
So that part's at least fine, but we were more interested in him being kicked out.
Yeah. So he's still blocked. It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks, I think.
That's what I mean. I don't know if it's the same ban that he's having or if he's on a new ban.
Well, if you keep getting banned, you can go up to there's 30 days. So he could be on a 30-day.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, let's see here. There's somebody else posting today, 2 days ago, somebody else posting for him. Somebody else posting for him. A lot of SG Fox, really. Somebody else. 6 days ago was when he last posted something.
Okay. Well, maybe he's back on tomorrow because sometimes it's just a 6-day ban. Or tonight.
Could be.
Depending on what time he got banned.
Or what kind of ban it was, too.
Right.
I mean, that post was about Daniel Smith because, that's nothing but goodness there. I'm sure it was.
Smith.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's absolutely fantastic. Oops, take that off. All right. So, I heard you were busy yesterday.
Yeah, I went on a Twitter Spaces with the pleb, aka Gucci to me.
Yes.
And yeah, I was able to speak to a lot of people who had questions for me, some of his followers. There were some great conversations. There were a couple of people who stood out that were annoying AF, which is that Marty guy who, I think his name was Marty, right? He's the one that wanted to compare not being able to
Yes.
go visit his grandma for 8 months to the 400 or 500 years of serious oppression and colonization of an entire nations, I should say. So that was annoying. And then there was William Diaz, blah, 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 whatever his last name is. That guy's
Well,
such a dink. He had a
yeah.
fucking script put together to ask me a question, and it was like the preamble was all bullshit, framing a narrative. He was so fucking dumb.
Well, I got a listing here of, because I took notes last night.
Yeah, you did, and yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's not even discussed, because I'd be pretty much I had the Twitch either up on that one or that one. Sorry, not the Twitch, but the TikTok.
I had lots of
Twitter.
people messaging me. I should have, next time that ever happens, I will have my computer open.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there. Exactly, I'm sitting there. I'm listening. I'm like, I'm taking the notes. I'm writing them down. I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of points as we'll go through them, but I'm just like, whew.
Yeah.
As well as I'm firing off messages over to you, like, oh,
well, somebody had made a great point. While you're going through your list, I'm going to find it. I'm awfully tired. I honestly thought we were going to do that till 11 o'clock. And I think his goal was to stop at 11 o'clock, and it went till like 12:30, and then his phone died. That's why it got cut off.
Yeah. Well, I think he said he wanted to go till midnight, because by after 11 o'clock, I'm like, oh, you guys are still going here? It's like, yeah, we're going to end at midnight.
Probably could have kept going. And then when that happened, I checked my DMs, and my DMs were blown up both on Facebook and Twitter. So I had a few conversations with some of the people that talked to me, sort of their follow-up comments or whatever. So we had a little bit of conversation. And then, of course, Facebook, people had these great points about stuff that I was saying. Some people were yelling at their phones, apparently.
Yeah. Some of us definitely were. So, yeah. I mean, I had a couple of notes on it. Like, okay, so Pleb is no, after this particular thing, I got, to actually listen to him for about an hour or two straight, as opposed to usually the 30 seconds to 60 seconds that usually you take him in. Not going to lie, sometimes he's more tolerable in smaller doses. But after that, I started listening to the entire thing for over 2 hours. Pretty much my initial assessments hadn't changed that much.
Yeah.
He's big on quick. He's quick on shock. He's quick on sort of like gotcha questions he's trying to get. He's trying to get, it's almost like a shock kind of thing. That's pretty much it. He's just trying to get the gotcha, like, oh, look, trying to, in which case, trying to push the buttons, and you saw him trying to push the buttons. He's trying to get, he's trying to shortcut to some really quick little yes or no questions where the two choices are just responses that he could sort of just jump on and have like, aha,
yeah,
and try to get a reaction from his crowd, to which he plays to them the most. And the other thing too is, but which also makes me think he doesn't believe any of the stuff, or he believes some of the stuff, but he's also, but he also just, I don't know how to put this. He believes some of the stuff, but nothing he does is to be taken seriously, because he doesn't even take it seriously himself, I think is the wording I want to use for it. Just because, example of that is just to see that, what that was when Camille came on, and just the two of them were just talking absolute crap. And just,
well, that's why I stayed quiet. There was really, and so I remembered, Yeah, because I remembered like when they said that he was wearing that mask, and then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, oh, I think that's the kid that put the stupid clear bucket on his head and then posted on Facebook. And
Yeah.
I feel like they're not that good at humor. Like,
No.
do you know what I mean? Like the stuff that they find funny it's not witty at all. Like it's not even. There's not a whole lot of thought put behind it, you know.
No, it's the humor of look at the look at how dumb they are.
Slapstick, like
it's not even slapstick as much
yeah,
as just
but I just mean like it's just
it's pretty much like haha, look how dumb they are. We're gonna make them look dumb to so that we can so we can look better.
Own the libs. This is what they look like. No.
It's the whole own the libs, and that's pretty much the whole thing. I mean, like even the first guest he came on, Pan, was exactly that. Right from the get-go, he's like, do you sing the praises of Zoloft? Which I'm still trying to figure out who the hell is it. Do we worship demons? Is honking violence?
I still don't know who Zoloft is, but like I said, I know who Olaf is, and that's all I could think about.
Yeah, I think Zoloft is medication.
Oh, yeah, you might be right. Okay. No, I don't take medication. There's nothing wrong with taking medication, but Zoloft is an antidepressant. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoloft's an antidepressant, so that's pretty much what they were doing. So I was like, oh, she must be on antidepressants. She must be crazy because she's left wing.
They kept mentioning these liberal higher ups or something. And I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about. So what messages are they being fed? Like who sits there and listens to every word a liberal person says and then like feeds it as rage farming as if we're all paying attention to this shit. And then that's how we form our opinions. It's like,
yeah. No, it's they're they really, again, these guys were still very much on the idea of just let's go for the shock, let's go for the let's go for the chuckles, look at the crazy left wing person, and let's not kid ourselves here. These guys have filmed you a fair amount, especially during POEC. So
Tupac, William Diaz, tried to say that the first time I met him, I yelled out my window and called him a racist piece of shit. I don't know if you guys saw Twitter, but I called him out on it today. And I said, and first I was looking at my Facebook lives, but I'm like, no. I bet you he posted. And I found all these posts about me on his fucking Twitter feed. So I just picked the one and I'm like, this is you interviewing me, you piece of shit, with my go home terrorist sign. Like, stop fucking lying. He's such a dink.
He is. I get closer, get more involved with him a little bit at the end. But actually, to him, there's not really much to get involved. You're right. I mean, the first thing in regards to him was he's just reading a damn script.
Like, so he couldn't even read it well either. Even forget me interrupting. It was like, like just.
Yeah, he had whatever he had written down. I don't know if it was something he wrote himself or somebody who wrote it for him, but he was going through the whole thing, and you couldn't ask him to clarify any of it, which made me think, I'm not sure if you understand what you're reading. And to be honest, and I used such a couple messages during the time, like, is he going to ask a fucking question?
Yeah, I saw that.
Jesus Christ, bud, you were given the ability to go in there and to ask a question.
I called it right from the beginning. I'm like, man, put your fucking script down and talk to me like a normal fucking human being. Like,
and when you said that, it made me think, oh, she is reading my message. No, she's not.
No. Everybody felt that way. Like, so if he thinks he was being clever, no, he
absolutely was. I mean, he absolutely was reading something because it wasn't hard to miss. It's if I'm asking you something and you try to interrupt me to get some clarification, if I'm not responding to that, if I'm just constantly repeating, continuing at the same point and just going forward, and he's like, can I finish? And I'm just rolled my eyes.
And when I wasn't saying anything, he's like, are you going to let me finish?
Are you going to let me finish my question? And I'm like, dude, you've been at the goddamn question for like an hour now. Like, land the fucking plane.
Yeah. Land the fucking plane. Exactly.
Like, Jesus Christ.
But you brought up some good points because there was that guy. Was it him? No, it was him. It was fucking William who tried to say, imagine you had one hospital and that one hospital charged $40,000 for a surgery, but then you build a second hospital and they do 20,000. And first of all, kid, that's not how it fucking works. And like, so I use Bell and Rogers, but you brought up some really great points, and go ahead.
Yeah.
You brought up
So,
some other ones that
so
the free market. Tell us more about the free market.
So he was like, because all right. So another thing that's
William. Sorry, just one sec. No one is asking how old do I think William is. I think William is a 12-year-old kid, and if you open the jacket to his suit, you'll find another kid underneath him holding him up on his shoulders. That's how I think he is.
So I don't disagree with. By the way, you can click on the names on the left and they'll show up on the screen too.
Nice.
You've got all the power.
All the power.
All the power. I'm not sure if that's a wise idea to give you that. But hey, why not? So yeah, dear old pleb says he's a libertarian. He may not be. Sure. Let's go with it. Libertarian, they're all big on no government, free market. That's it. How about our Haas? I'm a bit of a four-dimensional thinker in regards to, all right, you start with the idea and the concept of free market and everybody can do whatever they want. But eventually that shit's gonna change. Your free market from 200 years ago is not the same as it is today. No. And it's say what you will about, about government regulation, saying that, they're causing these large corporations to occur. No, these large corporations are occurring on their own. Bell did not become Bell. Bell, Rogers, and Telus did get a little bit assisted by the government in regards to getting some access to it, but
infrastructure.
Some of the infrastructure and some of the rights and some of the things they were able to charge, but there was ClearNet and there were some other companies that got bought out. And this is what happens with a lot of these
markets. Who? Rogers and Bell.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I mean, and Bell and Rogers and Telus, they've all been trying to get one of the last ones that's independent right now, which is freedom. But so once you get down to the oligopoly and there's like, oh, it's, it's like, as soon as you've got two places, the place that's going to be the cheaper is going to be the one that's going to be charging you, then the other one's going to be forced to go down in price. I'm like, yeah.
No, they're in bed together. They're working. What the fuck? Like,
yeah,
are you
but hey,
shit?
But I'm going to rewind it for the kid because for the kid, we gotta explain it slowly.
Yeah, slowly.
Because these two businesses are competing against each other. But these two businesses will rather quickly realize we're only competing with each other.
Yeah.
Why should we do this? So I can do it for 10,000. You're doing it for 20,000. You know what? Instead of me making you go down to 10,000, why don't I go up to 20,000?
Right. There's 25 million people who are going to choose either Rogers or Bell. And then when you're pissed off with Rogers, you switch to Bell. And the people who are pissed off with Bell can only switch to Rogers. So there's nowhere else to go. You think that they're going to bring down their price because they're competing with each other? Fucking, you need some life experience, my dear child. Life experience.
Yep. Absolutely. There is...
Get your fucking head out of your little textbook script and actually experience what's actually happening here. Anyway, you brought up other ones. You said the LRT was the free market.
LRT was also the free market. The LRT was also capitalism in there because the other thing that I had to bring this one up because I think Brian the Wolf there made an excellent point. But the LRT was an excellent example in regards to this is because Pleb was also big on the idea of like, well, big government's wasteful. If we privatize it, then we're not going to get any waste because private businesses are always more efficient. Okay, so you've never really worked much in a company, have you? Especially one that gets a little bit larger. By the
Yep.
time you get up to over a couple of hundred employees, shit goes to the wayside, and there's inefficiencies, and they're also looking for ways to get some extra money. And there's right now a whole bunch. We don't even need to leave Ontario to find a whole bunch of examples of that. First of all, LRT. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into detail of that. You can just read the inquiry.
Just
Good
read
God.
it. Yep.
It is an absolute shit show of everything that went wrong. Most of it had to do with the private sector. It was terrible, and so that argument there goes to the wayside. The second one is another one that has to do with nursing right now in Ontario. Nursing's been locked into their wages. They cannot
Yeah.
get the extra money. Between all the different bills and everything else, and all of us here, I think we all pretty much equally sort of stated that we disagree with how the wages are being done for the nurses. But what's more messed up is that they can't get enough nurses, so they're going to outside sources, external companies. They're willing to pay the external companies more money, significantly more money, for the nurses than paying the existing nurses they have more wages and making that particular position more attractive. To which I'm like, well, why wouldn't you save the money and just pay the nurses? Because there's money to be made by the private sector.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, free market and capitalism isn't really free market and capitalism when you are injecting yourself not in something that's it should be a business, but as something that's considered a need, like healthcare. Now at this point, you're just a fucking leech.
I need to do more. I don't want to misquote this, but I heard on the radio, and I'd like to look it up a little bit more. But apparently, the long-term care homes used to do their laundry service in-house.
Mhm.
And so they would pay people to do the house keeping or whatever, the laundry.
Yep.
And instead, they got rid of those positions and they contracted it out to a private business. And this private business owner, and it's more expensive. Okay, there was no need for it, so they have to actually ship the laundry to this place, do the laundry, and then bring it back. So now you're adding travel, and you're like people who have to work the trucks, people who do the laundry, people who fold the laundry, like the same people probably, but then it has to come back. So you got the fuel and everything else. But apparently the owner of that business, and they just signed another 11-year contract. It's all coming back to me now. And that owner of that business is actually friends with Doug Ford. So I'm going to pull that up while you're talking about this stuff. But this is what's happening. Like they're privatizing every piece of our healthcare. And guess who gets to reap the rewards? So yeah, you keep
exactly
find it.
I mean, LTC, I've got a little bit of a personal experience with it. My father was in an LTC facility for about a month before he passed away. But that aside, we were in there, and it was a private facility that we were in, and it was expensive enough. And it was one of those things that I really sort of, my family was able to sit there and watch. Not only were we in there for my father, because he was starting to experience some issues of dementia, so it was his needs within an LTC system was a little bit higher. So you're not just going into get a room, that's it, you're good to go. He needs to be in a place that's got what's called memory care unit. This is where they have secure doors and access. This is where they've got basically staff to help take care of of these people. And unfortunately, when you've got a private facility, for-profit facility, whether it's being paid for by the government or if it's just privately run, you have to start questioning a couple of things. So this place was not cheap. It was about roughly $5,000 a month
for a room.
Mm-hmm. In the memory care facility. Mm-hmm. The staff is staff. It's not medical staff. It's not it's kind of orderlies. For some of the rest of the place, that's kind of fine in regards to, well, most of these people are pretty autonomous. Some of them might just need a little bit more extra support. That's fine. Memory care unit, you probably want to have a little bit more training and active. The laundry service rang a huge bell as Dean was bringing up, because yeah, it was probably being laundered out, but the linens were, as my mother was hated the linens because she thought they were the oldest things there. Like after about, was it? They all look like they were at 5 years old, all worn down, they should have been replaced a long time ago. But and she's like, we're paying a premium rate for one of the highest end places here, and this is the lowest end. And to which she, it's one of those things that we always thought, like, when it comes to a business like a long-term care facility, it's a business like everything else that needs to make profit, which means that's money that needs to be given to somebody else instead of put into the care or the people there's to take care of. And they're going to try to maximize that as much as possible. Hence my issues with privatizing any part of healthcare, because you're trying to remove some of that money from the help you're supposed to be giving to and putting it towards somebody's investment portfolio. Unfortunately, Jen is quite correct. We're getting that in every single place. New Brunswick.
Well, maybe it was the story about New Brunswick. I need to look, because it was on CBC radio while I was driving, and it was one of the hospital or long-term care employees or whatever directors that was talking about it. So now I'm Googling the New Brunswick thing. I should, anyway, I'm not sure, but it's definitely happening.
Oh yeah, no, it's happening across the board. I mean, we know that. There's no big surprise there. It was kind of interesting that last night, one of the other things I had made a note about is even still back at Pan, which was they are trying to keep themselves distance from Pat King. And like, Pan, you are co-host to Roe on War Campaign, like.
And they were trying to get Roe to come talk to me. Those guys are losers.
Well, they probably would have if his phone didn't die out, I'm sure. But there was a lot of I mean, you had the next one, Christian, which don't remember much about him. He was asking you about your ideology. And there was
and then I explained that I worked for what I work as. Okay, yeah. Okay.
What's your issue with those who are opposed to the mandates, as well as he was trying to equate he was big on trying to equate Black Lives Matter as being the same thing as a freedom convoy. And I'm like, don't worry, it's like.
That's what you said, whataboutisms. And it's like, take accountability for your movement. How about we just please just, and if you guys want to talk about whataboutisms, well, I could bring up many, many whataboutisms whenever you bring stuff up. The one
Yeah, go ahead. The one
I was gonna say, the thing that killed me is when they keep taking AOC and saying that she's stupid or she's crazy or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, let me tell you a little bit about AOC, right? Yeah. Like
they need to characterize her like that.
Stupid. Yeah. Like, it's just.
But they don't listen to her. They don't check anything about her. They just view her. I don't like what she's saying, therefore she's stupid.
The talking point. No, it's because they're just getting people's clipped videos and they're reading somebody's opinion about them, or watching Alex Jones freak out about AOC, or watching Tucker Carlson freak out about AOC. But you're right, they're not actually listening to AOC. Oh, like, just if they listened, you guys got to hear the conversations that we had, and they don't seem to think I'm too far apart from them. So if they're watching right now, if they're listening, if you guys don't think we're that far apart, then take my word for it. Listen to AOC, because you're going to see that the people that she is fighting for and the ideas that she has to make your life better, I bet you'll agree with them. Like she is, total grassroots, extremely intelligent, about justice and fairness, equity, and not leaving people behind. So I feel like if they just gave some opportunity to, listen to and how many bills has she put forward? Like these are I don't know if these guys support Marjorie Taylor Greene, but let's talk for a second, like these Republicans who love Marjorie Taylor. What the fuck has that woman done? She's done nothing. She put a couple of impeachment papers in that went absolutely nowhere. She got removed from committees, and she's put nothing forward for anybody. Like
she gives them good feelings when they think she gives them a gotcha moment, or she starts yelling about AOC, which really doesn't do anything. It's just her yelling. I mean, it's true. She's not really doing much.
No. Yeah, listen, AOC is brilliant, and I mean, if they, like I said, if you want to criticize her policies, by all means, but you can't call her stupid and stop referring to her body parts. Like it's just so
Oh, that's true. I mean, they do try to belittle the whole, whole thing. They try. That's what I said. They don't ever. Whenever they talk about AOC, they don't really talk about her policy as much as like, oh, she's just green crazy. She's on a Green New Commie deal, and then it's everything not to do with anything that she's actually working on.
Yeah, right. And that Green New Deal that they have an issue with is like the biggest job creator that they've probably ever seen in any bill in modern history.
Yes. But counter to that, it's not even anywhere close to actually being passed. Like,
no, because people like MTG just say these stupid tagline bullshit. Yeah. And these people, like, if everybody just knows, government, Republicans don't ever want to. I mean, we just saw the 12 Republicans cross the aisle to agree to codify marriage, gay marriage, all marriage. So that's great. But for the majority, when it comes to like economics and things like that, financial, climate, health, Republicans aren't wanting to make deals because they want it to be their idea. They want to be the ones who are putting that forward so they could say, see, we did this. Or they want to do it and add other things into their bill that have nothing to do with the bill, and force, it to pass. Because if a Democrat says, no, I'm not going to approve this bill on climate change, meanwhile, there's something in there about abortion or whatever, you know what I mean? Like they just like to throw in these other things. And it drives me nuts because these bills should just be standalone things to vote on. And, one of the things somebody brought up yesterday in the show with Pleb or whatever was that they wish they could have had a referendum when it came to voting on the mandate or something, right?
Yep.
Not but they wanted to have a say in it. Well, that's why you shouldn't be shoving other things into bills that have nothing to do with the other. Because if you're going with popular consensus or what the population wants, then you're working for your people.
We've had the same. Yeah, we've had the same issues in regards to whatchamacallit.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, omnibus bills in the States.
What are they called?
Omnibus.
Omnibus. I'm confusing my letters. Omnibus.
Omnibus. Omnibus. No, we've got them down there. We've got them down there. We've got them up here. It's definitely a little bit different. But the only other one I wanted to bring up was there was Lola.
Oh, Lola. Yes.
Yes.
The Egyptian lady.
She She was
there's two people I want to bring up. So let's start with Lola because it'll segue nicely into somebody else who had a comment for me on Twitter.
yeah. So she didn't believe there was anything but mandates, which you've proven today. And I saw the big Twitch thread you made. Sorry, not the big Twitter thread. There's too many.
I could have done more
things with T's right now. Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, like. Yeah. Oh no, I absolutely believe you could have done a lot more in regards to explain the whole mandates thing. But yeah, so she's big on that. But she was also stepping towards a little bit more of she believes the entire COVID is a big psyops operation. And, and which brings me to the idea of like, all right, now you're getting to the idea of whole flat Earth. In regards to, you think this is a whole big, operation against the public, and we're gonna fool the world into believing that some big pandemic is a big thing. But it's fake, and that's what we're gonna do. And that's not it. I mean, it's there's a study that's been proven out there that showed that based on previous conspiracies, they actually sort of plotted out a wonderful equation of how long they can keep something hidden. Because the truth is, you can't.
Right.
People get greedy, and somebody's going to let it slip. Whether they're going to let it slip, or they're going to leak it, or whatever. And so they, based on everything else in the past, it's all actually leaked, and they were able to come up with a formula based on how large it was involved versus how big the secret versus how much time has passed. And they said, all right, well, based on these things, we were able to then say, okay, well, let's start taking some of these other things. And so they said, moon landing faked. They were able to say, it would have lasted about, I think, something like 10 or 20 years tops. It couldn't have been, couldn't have gone further than that, because there's a smaller group, but eventually somebody would have leaked. It's just going to happen. And they went through a whole bunch of that. Then they eventually went to, all right, flat Earth, months. You need the entire world to agree on this secret. We can't even get the entire world to agree on pretty much anything, including climate change. We got most of them, but not the whole world. I'm sorry. You're just not going to get it. It's impossible, and you're not going to be able to convince the entire world to fake something like COVID. It's just even the Chinese government's not able to contain information within their own country, and it's the Chinese government.
Yeah,
they are willing to use any means necessary.
Yeah. Yep.
So
but yeah, so I was able to show that I would have had to quarantine. Like I knew what I read, and there was no way I was mistaken. I mean, this was an important time in my life where I was trying to figure out if this could happen or not. Like I needed to know if I could go and see my father, or if I could maybe figure something out that could have possibly saved him, because maybe the decisions that were being made there were not the best because of his, the way the dynamic was with his wife, or maybe I figure out that the doctors aren't doing the best that they can. Who knows? But I was like, I am helpless over here. So what can I do? So I went in there, and it was April 2021. I wasn't eligible for my first dose of vaccine until June. In May, for my age group, May 10th, they finally opened it up to people 40 and over, but only those who were in immunocompromised and in working in places that were high risk. I think that's what it was. So, and then remember we were crashing the system and stuff like that. Like it was, even when that opened up for my age group, I still had to wait and wait and wait, right?
Oh yeah, the system went overloaded. Yeah, it got overloaded.
And so you had to be vaccinated to go to Egypt, and if you weren't vaccinated, you needed to quarantine for 14 days when you got there. And not only that, I had to have, and I put that up there, I had to have tested negative 72 hours before. So it was like, if I decided to leave that day that I heard my father had COVID, that day, I would have had to wait 3 days before I could get on a plane, 14 days when I got into Egypt, saw my dad for who knows how long that would have been on top of that. And then 72 hours before I could get back on a plane because I would have had to test it negative and then come back to Canada and quarantine for 14 days. It was just not possible. And so, I mean, things happened the way they happened. So I'm over that. But it was a very good example because she was saying people in Egypt didn't care. Well, no, your circle,
Your family might not have.
But that's not how and I have a really big family in Egypt, like a really, really big family in Egypt. And that's not, they weren't pretending things weren't happening over there. And I'm not, there's 100 million people in Egypt. Okay. So my big family is still,
there's more than 5
in the, it's still a drop in the ocean. It's, whatever, but it was a perfect example to show that we both have same culture and we both live in Canada and we both have very opposing views. So I don't get to speak for the people of Egypt. She doesn't get to speak for the people of Egypt, and I don't think she was. But then on my Twitter, this is where I'm going to segue. This Indigenous woman, she claims to be Indigenous. She may or may not be. I don't really care. Wanted to, and I'm not sure who she is because apparently I said it to her and her child, maybe. Oh, maybe it was the people that were there on Wellington Street one time. And Camilla went and spoke to their child. Maybe that's them. And they hung out for a bit or whatever, or talked. But she took issue with my rant, I guess is what she called it, when I explained how I don't agree with everything Justin Trudeau does. And I brought up the Truth and Reconciliation and Senator Marie St. Clair asking for money when testimonies were coming out that there are buried children in these places, that children died. And so the stories, lots of stories. So he wanted to add that to either that mandate, you need money to do that for more investigating, or he wanted to have a separate inquiry on that. And he was denied that by Prime Minister Trudeau. So that pisses me off. And I did get a little bit riled up about it. But she thinks because I can't think that way because I called her as a First Nations person and her child as a which I didn't call. I have never called a child a terrorist. But she feels as though I called her a terrorist. And she's waiting for me to call her husband, her native husband, as she put it, or First Nations husband, a terrorist. And so what I said was, just like the convoy doesn't speak for Canada, and I could have said, and just like I don't speak for Egyptians and Lola doesn't speak for Egyptians, you do not speak for First Nations people or Indigenous people. And just because you're Indigenous doesn't mean you can't be a terrorist. So
terrorist is not a racial thing. It is
not.
It's an action.
It is not. And it is, if you do those terrorist acts, if you promote those terrorist acts, or if you incite those terrorist acts, well, in my book, you're a terrorist. And I don't care what. And I can still feel passionate about the fact that Canada has a gruesome history in how they treated First Nations people with forced assimilation, murder, sexual assault, all of these things. And I could still demand better from my government. These aren't the same things. So whatever. I didn't hear back from her.
No, and that's again, that's not surprising.
No.
I mean, they might come back, they might not. Again, like we can see there's people connected here, but we can't actually, I don't think I can see the people connected via on Twitter. But no, it's these guys equate like, oh, you call me terrorist and it's an attack on my entire identity. Well, no. Hey, I called you terrorist because you're the terrorist, not a culture. It has nothing to do with your culture.
No.
Doesn't
And
matter
I
what,
didn't even know you were First Nations when I called you a terrorist. I was talking about your behavior
Yeah.
and your support of a terrorist, movement. So sorry, not sorry.
It's based on your actions, not on your identity. So going through the rest of the night here, Patriot Smoothie was interesting to see. Hopefully
Yeah, I hope he's doing well.
hope he's doing well. He's on a little bit rough, but I think it was just a cold he had there going on.
Yeah.
But hopefully he's doing well. Because we know he sent a message out where he's has some issues to take care of, and if he's listening in, are we doing well, brother? We'll disagree on many things, but it's not worth suffering over, though. Then there was Kimmel. I don't even want to bother discussing. I don't want to because he doesn't even take anything he does himself seriously.
Did he come on twice, or was he? Because I know he was asked to come on again, but I don't remember.
I don't think he made it. When we got to the end there, but it was V.
I enjoyed my conversation with Derek. I mean, we could have gone on forever.
So yeah, that's who I was going to go up to. Well, you had Marty from the north who
go further north, Marty.
Yeah, further north, Marty, who was who really
shove
was
it up
not
your
a fan
south
of yours.
end, Marty.
You made no friends with that particular individual, and I think it was mutual. He was quite convinced that you were a walking contradiction because what was it? Seems to be.
I said, "Show me how," and I don't feel that I contradicted myself.
Right, because he went off. He was suffering mandates to the indigenous, and then he was trying to. Well, it's a social thing. I'm like, dude, no, that's just.
And then he tried to throw in his indigenous uncle.
Yeah,
my uncle's indigenous. I'm like, okay, then anybody like you should know not to fucking compare your little 8-month inconvenience to your fucking uncle's suffering. God, like,
I was quite impressed how quickly you went to that.
He's a residential school survivor. Go tell him that you think your suffering of not being able to travel for 8 months compares to what he probably went through in the residential school.
100%. I totally agree.
Is suffering. No, it's not.
No,
I stubbed my toe and I suffered for like 10 minutes while it hurt. And then I had a myomectomy where I had like my stomach cut open and things taken out. That wasn't the same. Okay.
Stubbing your toe, you're going to recover in 10 minutes. You're probably going to forget in 20.
Yeah. Like, is this going to matter in 5 to 10 years? Is the fact that you couldn't drive for like, whatever to this province for 8 months, and it wasn't even 8 months. Like, that was me giving some, in
any other kind of circumstance, everybody else is going to forget about the pandemic except for these guys. They're not going to let it go.
That's okay. They can hold on to it if they want.
They're going to hold on to this rage, and they're just going to move from one thing to another one. Yeah, they're going to be stuck into it.
Yeah.
Then we had Captain Kobe was a nice little break that came in for you.
Yeah.
So he was. Yeah, as soon as I saw he was in there and he was coming up next, I'm like, all right, that'll be nice because I've seen his stuff. I've seen his. He also has a lot of guys on the right that do not.
They don't like him.
No, they don't like him.
They kept making comments about him coming on, and I don't know. I feel
no. Yeah, he makes no. He doesn't. Yeah, so it was kind of a nice break to give you a bit of a respite there.
Mm-hmm.
But they were you guys discussed some stuff in regards to Elon's aid to Russia, which was an interesting thing too. There because you guys did discuss that Elon's aid for Ukraine and of course Hunter Biden's laptop because.
Yeah, so I don't know if everybody knows, and I don't want to retweet it, but there's like this 30. Okay, so Pleb sent this to me over DM. He's like, you need to come on here. It's wild. And it's Elon Musk having a Twitter space with all these other people. And there's
Oh, yeah.
a lady named Tara Bull that's on there who used to work for the Biden administration. And she hates Biden and the entire administration. She was damaged by Biden. She's claiming that he sexually assaulted her and actually was hushed. And I believe her. Okay. Like I totally believe her. But the other guy that was on there, the other guys that were on there, just total kiss ass. And so they're like, Elon is the greatest. He bought this for $44 million. Why? Why do you think he would do that? Because he wants free speech for everybody. It's like, shut the fuck up. That's not why he bought this thing. Like, give me you honestly think Elon Musk gives a flying fuck about it? Like, it was totally a promo thing.
Yeah.
And then this other guy was doing what they called a document dump about Hunter Biden's laptop. And all they were able to do, and you read it for yourself, I'll share the link, or I'll share it on here maybe. And you can read this thing, and I'm waiting because I'm like, are we going to see information from Hunter Biden's laptop? Like, that's what I thought it was. But all it was Twitter employees, because McKechnie, what's that stupid, dumb blonde's name that was Trump's press secretary?
Oh,
Kayleigh
McEnany. Yeah, Kayleigh McEnany.
So she posts the New York Post article, which, according to the New York Post, had stuff about the Hunter Biden laptop. And so Twitter took it down because they thought that it might breach their rules about putting hacked information on their platform. But they didn't have a proper disclaimer. Oh, wait, that's later. So they took it down, and they didn't take it down. They blocked Catherine, whatever her name is, Kayleigh
McEnany.
Thank you. And so right away, Trump sends an email saying, "Why are you blocking her?" and something, or somebody in Trump's team. So this is the email you're looking at, and basically it's a response. Well, it's breaching one of our policies, and don't worry, she can go back on. We've asked her to remove it though before we can put her back on. And he really wants this thing to come out because it's like right before the election, right? So he really wants this to be a thing, just like he made it a thing for Hillary Clinton, right? So this is like the tactic they're trying to play. Meanwhile, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And so then it's just a back and forth. Okay, fine. We can put a disclaimer on it then if we're going to put it back up. Well, what disclaimer do we put? And we're like, well, we don't really have one, but we'll use this one. I know it's not ideal, but whatever. Like they didn't have a one.
Didn't have no time to prepare something.
No, prepare something, you fucking idiots. Like that pissed me off. Like, why wouldn't they just all this time emailing back and forth? Somebody figure something out to put on there. You know, whatever disclaimer it is. Whatever, I don't care. But all you're reading in these 38 things is that. And then you're seeing one Democrat saying, well, and she made a good point. And she's not making it a point that she thinks, and she says this, Biden didn't do anything wrong, but you guys are making this a thing, even though it's not a thing, by not putting Kayleigh's stupid thing up, right? And so it would have been a nothing burger or a smaller nothing, whatever it is, if you guys didn't make a deal of it. So, and you're stifling, it's against the First Amendment or something, right? And so they're like, oh, this Democrat is more worried about the First Amendment than any other one. It's like they're just totally missing the nuance or anything of the conversation. And then that's their I gotcha, everything's coming out. And then they use the excuse that the only reason why they're not able to put out the information is because there's going to be inquiries after this. There's going to be no fucking inquiry. There's going to be absolutely no inquiry. This was just an opportunity for them to get all riled up and then to prop Elon Musk onto this fucking pedestal that he is the greatest thing since sliced bread for them and free speech. Like they totally ate it up.
And that's pretty much what Elon's looking for is he wants to look like the cool kid.
Oh. But in that I told you in that guy says Elon's the smartest. Why do you think he gave the Ukraine Starlink and internet for free? He's got all those satellites that can pinpoint, because before he says this, they're making fun of the Ukrainians for doing these TikToks, and then the Russians being able to find where they are and blow them up or whatever it is, because they're totally outing their
Locations. Yeah.
position. And so he's like, yeah, why do you think Elon was, giving them free Starlink? He's got all these satellites up there and he can totally pinpoint their position, and Russia can whatever or something like that. And it's like, and Elon's like, I'm going to get the clip of that. I hope they don't take it down. That's why on Discord, I'm like, somebody please download this thing before they take it off, because it's perfect.
Oh, it is. It is. If somebody can hunt for it, that'd be awesome. Let us know. But yes, I'm trying to see if there's anything else on the list. But there's something else also want to see if we can bring into this. The only other thing was just to also go down to how deep the rabbit hole is. One of the people that talked to you last night also was somebody by the name of SJ.
Oh, SJ, yeah, with the bumblebee or something on his.
Yeah, just the first one at the gate was, well, AOC is just an actress.
Huh? Oh, AOC is an actress, yeah. And then he's like, "Did you need to watch the?" I'm like, "I did watch. I saw her from grassroots to whatever. Like, she's not
an actress, but I'm sorry.
And even if she was, she's fucking good at her job, man. Like, who cares? What is it with what people do before? And then they're saying, oh, she was a bartender. Oh, Justin Trudeau was a drama teacher. Justin Trudeau was a drama teacher for like 2.5, 3 years. And he's been prime minister for 8. And he's been the leader of the Liberal Party for 10. He's no longer a drama teacher. Give that one up. She's not a bartender anymore. Give that one up. I did waitressing, bartending, restaurant, everything for 20 years. But I've owned a property management business and taking care of housing co-ops going on 13 years now. Yeah. Does that still make me a bartender, waitress? Or like, it's just so.
They need to try to characterize them into something to try to describe them. And I'm like, the problem is that what you're trying to accomplish means that nothing about them can change, which means nothing about you can also change either.
That's right.
Which means whatever crappy person you were when you were 18, you're that still crappy person.
You're still that crappy person.
So
absolutely.
So I don't know if there's anything else in particular we wanted to bring up on that one, because the next thing I wanted to see is if we wanted to open up the yacht.
Oh yeah. Who wants to come and join us?
So I'm going to drop into the chat the link here. So if anybody wants to jump in and join us, by all means. The link will let you jump in, and we'll take you guys one at a time. And that's 2. That should be on all 3 of them now.
Nice.
And if you're watching this on Twitter, I recommend jumping in either on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook page. And join us at least, and then you can see the link there. What else could I do? Oh yes, I can also, because I can do all sorts of the fancy stuff.
I love it. Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
What's happening next week?
So
for someone to come on.
Well, for next Wednesday, I'm not sure yet. I've gone around to see. I'm trying to also we still need to sort of discuss scheduling in regards to what we're agenda for next Wednesday. But yeah, hopefully we're gonna be able to get something or somebody to come in. Well, at least get some topics going in.
You guys should be sending us stuff if you want us to talk about things too. Like
absolutely. There is a fair amount of stuff I also wanted to see if we could bring up in regards to local. That I want to see if we can bring in, see if we can discuss, particularly in regards to some of the things coming in. Like, as we discussed even last Wednesday, Batter seems to be pretty intent on coming. There is more attempts in regards to like OCDSB trustee meetings, as well as protesters going to schools to protest trans rights, like in the middle of Renfrew, which I still don't understand what brought them there for that.
It's some stupid kid that's in there named Kyle, I think. Of course, his name's Kyle, yeah. And he
We've seen
was
that kid
trying
too.
to get, he got suspended. He was suspended for his disgusting behavior, I believe. But I heard that he was suspended
Mhm.
and he was trying to start this walkout and wasn't able to succeed. So he, I think, reached out to like Chris Dacey and other freedomers. Oh, excuse me. I went to bed at like 2:30 in the morning yesterday.
She had a late night.
I did have a late night, and but yeah, so he reached out to them, and so they tried to rally some people together to help this idiot Kyle out, and they kept putting him on the stage to speak. And this kid is like, I know he's just a kid, but he's a older kid, and his parents fucked him up good because he's just full of hate. And he's trying to say, me doing this doesn't mean that I hate trans people. And it's like, fuck, you guys are gaslighting yourselves. Just shut the fuck up. Like, you're just idiots. Just go to class, learn what you're supposed to fucking learn, go hang out with your buds in the fucking football field or wherever, in the calf or wherever you want to fucking go, at the lockers, and mind your own fucking business. And then go play ball or whatever it is you fucking do after school, you useless piece of shit, and stop putting your nose in other people's businesses. Like, it doesn't affect you. Like, really, in the big scheme of things, none of this fucking affects you.
No, it doesn't. But for some reason, things that don't affect them seem to be the number one thing to them. I mean, this is no different than abortion. There's nothing like taking a look over at an abortion rally or anti-abortion rally, like seeing a bunch of guys standing there for an anti-abortion rally. I'm like, why?
Corrine's asking if I received the DM regarding the doctor they were talking about last night. Did you send it to me, Corrine? Is this it? No, that's from September 14th. I don't know what doctor. Let me check my Twitter. I did not. Maybe you can send that to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 kids walked out from that. That's it. And then it was all people who had nothing to do with that fucking school at all there.
Yeah.
The guy interviewing said he would send you a DM.
Oh,
which doctor? Which doctor are we talking
more
about?
than likely as probably Dr. Nilly. Because remember, he's
right. No, I didn't get the Dr. Nilly thing yet, but they tried to send me today. Thanks for reminding me about this. I did not get the Dr. Nilly one, but I think Pleb was trying to give me the stuff that we were talking about. And you'll see on Twitter, he sent me a what is it? Lib. What the fuck is that stupid Twitter account? Libs of. Hold on. I responded to it. It's some rage farming anti-liberal Twitter thing. And basically, he sends the drag queen show where kids were there. And I asked for the whole video because I'm like, that could look like a kid, but I don't think it's a kid. And so finally, because if I had the whole video, maybe the person that was filming from far zoomed in on this person while they weren't trying to give money to the drag queen that was dancing. Anyway, the drag queen wasn't stripping. It appeared the drag queen only had things covering their nipples, but they were wearing a bodysuit that was skin colored. Mm-hmm. And when I did a close-up of this child, it's actually a woman who who looks like a younger boy, maybe, if you don't like, it's
So
somebody
he's actually
with
an adult.
that's
So
what
like,
I'm perceiving her as. I don't think it's a young boy trying to give a drag queen money. I think it's a woman who has one of those faces. And I posted it on Twitter because he's like, because I said, can I have the full video? He goes, what? That's not enough. Maybe you can put it on there so you guys can see for yourselves. It's just hard to get a snapshot, and it's pretty pixelated. But when you look at it, it doesn't look like a little boy up
and
close.
that's because I think I watched the video last night. I was looking for it.
Do you have the whole video? Like, because he sent it to me. Okay. I'd like the whole video because, sorry, but that's not. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Sure you do. I've agreed. Blah, blah, blah. God. Here it is. Supernova. Did he delete it? Okay. Was that not enough evidence? Okay. I'm still giving it to you, Joe. Sending it to you. That's the snapshot that I took. Hope it's coming. There we go. And if I could even send you the video first. It's libs of TikTok. That's what the rage farmer is. And so, vaccine baby, thank you.
Yeah, so we got this one here.
It does say all ages, and I'll acknowledge that. But that's, and is there a way you can make it bigger? So you can see she has lady hands. She has breasts. It's hard,
Yeah.
eh?
It's I'm like, that could be a kid, but that could be that could be a woman too.
It's a woman. I'm telling you right now, that's not a kid. And I think her girlfriend is right beside her, to be honest.
You might be right. And I'm not disagreeing with that at all, but I mean, like, it's a single screenshot there. That doesn't tell me enough.
Well, it's hard. That's why I want the full video. I need the full video. And you know that anytime these people say a damn thing, they clip things on purpose to try to form a narrative, but they also like just.
We have a part of the video, but again, I think you might be right because this is again libs of TikTok. So here we go, because they zoomed into the one point. So
yeah, so they're trying to think that because it's so far away, that looks like a kid that has them trying to give money. I don't think she's a kid. I think she's an adult, and she's beside her girlfriend, and she's just enjoying the show. I don't see any other children there either. So, I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take their word for it.
No, exactly. I mean, they're not even.
Lady Deathstrike. Who cares if it is? They're just trying to say, though, that as if you would bring your child to a stripping event.
But the other thing that was an excellent counterpoint that I think you said at least once, which is you were screaming for freedom, and now you're screaming at these people for doing whatever they want with their kids.
Yeah.
You need to pick a lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
because right now, one of those things we're gonna have to stop taking you seriously for, and we're just gonna pick which one. And you know what? To be honest, I'm just gonna make both.
Well, I just don't take any of it seriously. So, like, they're just. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Like going to, they have a problem with the fact that people want to have their own pronoun or gender identity, and they don't understand that. Like, it's just, I feel like they do understand. They just want to make it difficult. I don't think it's a misunderstanding anymore. I think they just don't accept it, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we're at now. Which is fine, because that's the last step before these guys become the out, and everybody else is going to accept it, and it's just it's going to be the norm, and we'll just have that fringe of people who wish life could be the way it was when we used to jail people for being gay or trans or whatever. Like, this is within our lifetime. 1969 is when they decriminalized homosexuality. Do you know that? 1969.
Oh,
That's only like 8 years, 9 years before I was born. That's not a long time. And then 2005 is when they could finally recognize gay marriage. That is in my son's lifetime.
And in 2015, they included into the Charter of Rights and Freedoms gender identity and gender expression, which is a huge, huge boost. It was an impressive thing too.
Yeah,
I think we were one of the first countries to do it.
What year was that?
2015, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
It was one of the things that
Trudeau's government did.
Yeah, you think Harper did that?
Because if you want progress, you need to look to Liberals for progress.
Liberals, NDP.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
definitely not looking conservative.
I shouldn't lump the NDP with the Liberals, the left, if you will. But even though, the other thing, I just want to put this on record. Mm-hmm. You are not allowed to say that communists are on the left. They are not. There has to be a separate section for communism or whatever. Or
it's communism to them isn't. They don't understand communism. Communism to them is just a word. Yeah. It's all these bad things. It's communism. But you ask them to define communism, they're like China. Oh, no. Well, what about China's a country?
What's communism? China do that's communist? Yeah.
No, not even that. Just China is a country.
Yeah.
China's not communism. If China is under communism,
Bolshevism.
What does that mean? Bolshevism. Okay. What does that mean?
I'm making fun of that guy. Oh, yeah. He just started throwing out these terms. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Did you read up on the Bolsheviks? I'm like, yes. Did you? Like, it's.
And what does that have to fucking do with masks? Can you just shut up now?
Yeah. It's all back to the.
I love it.
They're just painful. It's horrible.
Anyway.
But so apparently they were out today, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
How'd that go for them? You have video?
Let me see. So I did see a bit of video. I even saw part of a live stream.
Oh.
From one of your admirers.
Freedom Photos.
Aww. I think he misses you.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps asking me about you when I show up. I'm kind of thinking maybe.
Where's Rainbow Karen?
What did he? I think he thinks you're my sister.
Oh.
Yeah. No. I don't think no. It was Danny.
Boucher.
Danny Boucher thought you were my sister. I'm like, no. I think he thought you were my girlfriend.
We'll find out that we're long lost cousins at some point, Joe.
Oh, probably something like that. I told you what I am to you. We know that one clearly. Yeah, Freedom Photos, and he's got a wonderful username that's
Freedom Frodo. That's the best. You said Frodo, and it
did I?
Perfect. Freedom Frodo.
that'll stick now for sure.
We've got Porn Again Daisy and Freedom Frodo. I like it.
I like it too. So I didn't capture the live because I was listening to Freedom Photos or Freedom Proto. Yeah, you're right. It does work well.
Totally perfect.
It is. So he oops, that's not the one I wanted. I need to learn how to use computers. Come on, Joe. Use a computer. It's not your first time. God, you're terrible.
Maureen, we are going to talk about that after. You're right.
So, how do they do?
There's nobody there. Who are they yelling at now? Oh, they're hiding in the corner over there.
Yeah.
Trying to stay dry. There's no audio? That's their TikTok?
Oh no! I think I forgot to share the audio. It gets kind of weird because when I share the audio, I also hiccups a bit. But yeah, that and he's also got some music playing in the background. But yeah, he's like, "We're standing up to Trudeau by standing in front of his office." I'm like, "No, you're not. You're cowering in the archway because you're fucking cold."
Losers. Yeah, did you hear about this? I did post it earlier. So Chio.
Oh yes.
Chio has now had to get the help of the Red Cross. Mm-hmm. Red Cross is normally whenever there is a natural disaster or they jump in war zones. Maybe if your house burns down, they come and help you. But no, the hospital system's burning down. So the Red Cross has had to come in because Doug Ford is a useless piece of shit who is purposely breaking our hospital systems. And the people who are paying the price are the most vulnerable people in society, the ones who are sick, the children. And yeah, I don't know why we're not all organizing and just fucking going and protesting the shit out of this. Like, why are we just watching this happen? I feel like this is one of those things that we just need to start banging down his door. I don't know. I'll drive up to Toronto if there's a big protest for this. I will go to Queen's Park. I don't care. Let's do it on a Friday. Let's just do it. It needs to happen. I don't even know. I have no idea.
Well, that's the thing is, I'm trying to think here. Like, I know some of the groups in regards. We both know some of the groups that would do certain kind of events for certain kind of things, like for some of the local activity. Well, like some of the local activity, you start seeing some messaging from places like Horizon Ottawa and whatnot. But something like this, I don't know who would do it. Who would be the one that would take care of that?
Like, are we going to wait till one of the children loses their lives because they're not getting the treatment that they need to get? And like, he's not taking any leadership. He's not trying to do the mask mandates. He's not trying to fix the hospital situation. Like, throw us a fucking lifeline. There needs to be something. You need to do. Somebody, was it yesterday where they were saying, who was I talking to? Was it yesterday? Where they were trying to say that Doug Ford bought all of these ventilation systems for the hospital and they haven't even put them in yet because they're not needed. Like, that's what the answer is. It's because they're not needed. You think that's what the problem is? That he bought them just for show and now they're just going to sit there because, oh, we didn't really need them. Come on, guys. Like, for realsies.
They were needed. They just don't have enough people to man them, to work with them. They don't have enough space. Yeah. It's like, you can get the rooms, you can get the beds, but if you don't have the people because you decide not to pay them.
Yeah. People are leaving. Yeah. It's an exodus. They're not getting paid to do the hardest work. Same with the educators. I have a friend of mine who works in a school and they had 5 educators and 3 EAs that were absent and only 2 people replaced them. 2 people did the work of 8 people. Do you know how unsafe that is for the students and the teachers, especially since this happens to be a school that is not your typical school. And these children need extra care. It can get very violent there with what's going on. So they need essential teachers, or they need these EAs to help with these things. So 8 people are gone and only 2 people to replace them. It's ridiculous. And these EAs are getting paid 39,000 like the nurses, or not even a living wage. They haven't had an increase for what, 10 years?
I think the nurses get paid more than 39.
Yeah.
Like I heard the 39. I'm like, really? That's it? I mean, that would have been cool for the AA work 20 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Now.
It's brutal. Got people living in cars.
Yeah.
Who can afford rent on that? There's no way. There's no way. I know there's no way. I work in housing. I have to look at people's income and balance it. And I used to do it at 30% of their income would qualify them to move in, but that's impossible. So now I'm going to 40% because you know what? People will even pay 50% of their income to live in a place. And there's even a human rights case that was awarded for that. But at the end of the day, I can't, who's 30% what? What's 30%? If they're on subsidy, then 30% is that number. That's the magic number. But if it's somebody who can't get a subsidy because there's no subsidies available, somebody who just needs a place to live, well, I'm looking at 40%. And let's do it right here.
My apologies. Somebody's upset.
What happened?
Not sure. Some noise happened. I was like, well, come tell me about it. Come tell me about it. Come tell us about it. Come here. Come here. Not seeing anybody at the front door. So, no, I don't know. Probably heard somebody outside. He gets upset. But no. It'll be interesting to see if some sort of, I'm hoping some sort of grassroots starts organizing around Toronto and whatnot. You're right. It'd be interesting to see if there's going to be some sort of interesting protest that start to occur. The problem with protesting Ford right now is that half the time he just doesn't show up.
Yeah, but if there's enough
half the time
pressure,
he's generous.
Look, so I just did it really quickly. If you make $39,000 a year, then at 30%, you will be qualified for rent at $975 a month. The average rate in Ottawa, this is not even Toronto or any Peel region or York region or any of those places, 1 bedroom is going for $1,400 a month right now. That's the average rent.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much screwed. And I could go at 40% times 0.4 equals divided by 12, $1,300. So even at 40%, you're still not making it to what the average 1 bedroom. So don't have any kids. Don't fucking dare be a nurse or an EA and have children.
Yep. Chris, I remember when I had a 2-bedroom apartment, it was around 800.
Yep.
Wasn't
you know when that all changed? That all changed the first year that Doug Ford was elected. The first time he was elected and the first year, he got rid of rent controls.
Then everything just went
landlord-tenant board too, which is a huge mess right now. So landlords have these delinquent tenants or tenants who just aren't paying their rent or can't pay their rent, whatever it is, and they can't move them out. I can go on forever. Okay, let me give you guys a breakdown of a couple of things. What an idiotic system. The mortgages, no, I'll do it later. This will be a different episode. I'm going to talk to you guys about housing and why the market isn't going down and it's not meant to go down. And the fact that all these new houses they're building, I'm just going to go into it now. That fucking pissed me off. The houses that Doug Ford is trying to build now,
I'm going to let you speak it.
The homelessness on the Greenbelt is a total sham because they're going to build houses. So selling mortgages, the bank makes money, or the people who are selling these mortgages make money. And as bonds, they're worth more than the actual mortgages. And new bonds are worth more than old bonds. And bad mortgages are worth more because at some point they will turn over as a new sale or whatever. But when you add houses to the market and you give these money, it's really easy for developers to be able to build more houses. When you give them these spaces and money to build these places, they're building them for upper middle class to higher class, not houses that any of us normal lower wage people could afford. And so what ends up happening is it's the speculators that actually buy these places, and either they rent them out or they leave them vacant, which we know is happening. And that all that's doing is creating new bonds, new mortgages, whatever it is. And eventually, eventually these things will crash or whatever, like people won't be able to afford it. And well-meaning people who tried to buy these houses all of a sudden can't afford to pay their houses. So you start seeing people dumping their houses or their investments. But the people who can't because they're not able to remortgage for like their property, their house value actually didn't increase. So they're stuck. They can't refinance. So they're stuck in their original mortgage payment. They end up not being able to afford it, whatever. So that's when they start dumping their asset, liability, whatever you want to call it. And then eventually the price of houses start to come down, but that doesn't do anything for anybody. It doesn't come down as much as it's supposed to. It's still higher than what the housing market is supposed to be. I don't know if I've explained that well or not. But basically, they're building all these houses, and I didn't understand why they were building houses that nobody could actually afford until I started looking deeper into it. And maybe when I look even further into it, I'll be able to explain it better to everybody. But there's a triple whammy here for everybody because there's that whole increase in the housing market, and then the banks trying to control that, and so they raise inflation rates. And either way, like I'd rather my house be more expensive and I'm paying less of interest and more on principal than paying the banks all of this money because whatever. So that I'll put that one aside. The other piece is, I've spoken about this before, our property taxes are going to go up because the value of our property has gone up because everybody else's value has gone up. So now we're going to pay higher amounts in property taxes, right? And the last one, I just had it in my head. It was the property taxes and, oh, shiza. What was the last one? I'm so tired. I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Anyways, we can talk about something else. It will come to me.
No, to me, the short of it is when you start taking something as essential as housing and start turning it into an investment, right there, you got a problem.
Well, for sure.
That's a huge one right there. I mean, it's something that, I've seen many people, discuss that it's absolutely true. I mean, you turn it into a housing, like an investment, that means I'm going to start exchanging it to try to make more money off of it. I'm going to try to exploit it for renting. And then I'm going to start selling it for a higher amount. And especially if I start flipping it quickly back and forth between other investors, next thing you know, that entire area could start increasing in value, even though nothing's changed. The house hasn't been improved that much, except for a couple of modifications, cosmetic. The land certainly sure as hell hasn't changed.
No.
Its location. It's being demanded more because it's more central to whatever the city's evolved as. But it's no longer something that should be sort of like something as you can reasonably afford to get into. This is the free market, as some people like to discuss, saying it makes everything fair. Well, no, this is the free market turning something that's essentially that you're supposed to be have access to something
right.
that's no longer
a basic human right.
Well, everybody's going to need some place to live.
Yep. It's the
And
cost of living piece that I forgot.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
All of the things that we buy, all of the things that we rely on is those prices are based on our housing cost of living. Okay. So the price of well, anything that you have to purchase is based on the cost of living. So the higher your housing prices go, the higher everything else goes. Trades, everything.
No, absolutely correct. Absolutely agreed. No, because I mean, it's you need a house, you need food, you need healthcare, and you can argue with me as much as you want. Healthcare should be a right. It is a right in Canada. It should be a right everywhere.
Yep.
You don't get healthcare, you're not going to live.
Or your quality of life is going to be shit. Like what?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Your life is going to suffer. You're not going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an absolute need. I mean, yeah.
Yesterday, they're trying to say that the fact that we rank number 2 or number 1 in the world for best place to live, and then they turn around and say that's they're really paranoid. They tried to say that was what do they call it? A
psyops.
Is that what they said? No, not
everything's a psyops to them.
Yeah, okay, everything's psyops. But it was based propaganda or something. It's like, then why did they pick Canada? Like, how are we like the richest? If that was the case, United States would have been number 1 because they have more money than Canada does. So United States wouldn't be so low on the list if there was some sort of rigged system. China would be right up there. Russia would be right up there. Like, Canada.
No, totally true. You're absolutely right.
They have to use some bit of logic in their thinking. They really do. They can't. They can't.
I try to, and I do try to talk to them. I do try to talk to them and try to get some more information. I am the nice one because.
Yeah.
So I try to be somewhat civil because I do want to have a conversation in regards to trying to figure out what's going on, and I've got some other ideas of some stuff I'd like to do and discuss with them, and things I'd like to get them to try out. And I still would love to talk to somebody who's like an expert in sociology and whatnot, because I've got this theory. Well, sorry, not even a theory. It's I've got this idea of that. We've seen the inverse pyramid there of conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, from the generals to like the mundanes to the downright, there's pharaohs and they're taking over the world and they're going to kill off half the population, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Lizard people, those sort of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think there could be sort of something. I'd love to see if we can sort of develop a sort of a scale in regards to how deep they are in the far right. Like at what point and what level you're at.
I mean, when you have so Pleb just put something on his Facebook, excuse me, and I am tired. His Twitter that he's now
probably has a Facebook though.
Yeah, maybe, but he's up. No, I think Twitter's the only thing he does because I sent him the TikTok video and he's like, I don't do Chinese spyware or something like that. So whatever. But he just made a post about how since he saw Go Home Terrorist Lady, he went from 11,000 followers to 15,000 followers now or something like that. Whatever. So, but he was
like you.
Well, he was going like one. It was a tweet after a tweet, like it was a thread, but I don't know if it was I didn't really pay attention. I don't know if it was like I feel like it's a date thread. Like it's not all the same day. It's a dated thread or something. Anyway, what the hell was my point? Oh yeah, he's got 15,000 followers, so they can't all be on like. I mean, there's got to be a spectrum of where everybody's at, right? And we heard
absolutely.
That. Like some of the people I think they just hate Trudeau, but we sort of land in the same place for a lot of different things.
There
Other
is. I
than,
mean, like there's like that particular triangle thing. Like there's the shallow end where I feel like we can have discussions in
yeah,
regards to like some of the stuff that you're thinking is kind of wrong, but I think if we can keep you in that kind of area,
yeah,
we could probably discuss some stuff and you're still in an area where we can agree to disagree because it's what we're disagreeing on is it could be valid political points
yeah.
versus psyops and the flat
Science.
earth and the
Science.
lizard people are out to
Yeah.
get you. I'm like, okay, now you just
Or flat out liars. Like William is
Mhm.
like, he's a fucking waste of time. Pan, he's a fucking way, like war campaign. He's all about let's get as many people on my fucking whatever and spread as much bullshit as I want. Like, okay, just one question. If you are about peace and bringing people together, why do you call yourself war campaign? Like, if you're trying to say that your movement is peaceful and all this shit, but you're going to go with war campaign, fuck off. Just fuck right off.
no, you're absolutely right. I mean, so this is for those who are asking, they're curious here. This is the conspiracy chart.
Okay.
So, and it's somebody named Abby Azar, and I'll see if I can retweet it on my Twitter later. Where they kind of go through the different levels in regards to basically how crazy this stuff gets. I mean, you start off at the bottom there where it is grounded reality. So things like MK Ultra, NSA mass surveillance, big tobacco lied about cancer. Most of that stuff is pretty true. In regards to these are actual things that FBI spy on John Lennon.
Yeah.
They all sound conspiratorial, but they're all real.
Yeah.
So it's very much so. Then you start going into some of the more not quite crazy yet. Epstein didn't kill himself. Princess Diana. Starting to get into a little bit of the crazy, but at that point, it's all right. It's novelty kind of like novelty kind of conspiracy. I'd throw in another one in there.
JFK.
JFK's assassination. JFK Jr. probably is another one.
Well, no, I feel like the JFK Jr. one is got to be up there in like the pink or yellow. The fact that people are standing there still to this day, waiting and leaving their families behind, waiting for him to come back.
Well, so I think this one here, they're just talking about the JFK assassination in regards to the magic bullet. And so this is kind of more the original one. Like, so it's not quite...
Elvis is dead, by the way.
Yeah. The other one that's also in there, I'd also put in this particular category is Avril Lavigne. There's a conspiracy where that they believe that she had, or I think she did have Lyme disease.
Yeah,
but
she
they
does.
believe that they believe that she died from it and she's been replaced by a clone or a friend that looks identical to
Avril Lavigne is really not that important in the big scheme of the world thing. So why are we bringing her back? I mean, I think she's great and I don't wish that she is dead, but I'm sure she's laughing at this just as much as anyone. This is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Who's they? Tell me it's just like a handful of people from Timmins, Ontario or something.
Like, no, it's a fair amount. There's a fair amount of following. If you go on like some of the online communities, I feel a couple of people here might be able to find a couple of some of the darker places of the internet. But yeah, no, it's one of those conspiracies that picked up. And there's a fair amount of following. Obviously, it's gonna be more of a North American thing. But yeah, they truly believe that. I'm like, but again, this is kind of like all right, this is kind of crazy. And so, but it's probably between speculation line and leaving reality. We're leaving reality. Leaving reality. The first one on the top left, Avril Lavigne replaced.
Oh my god!
So
it's the Great Reset.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll get to that one a little bit later. But here you're leaving reality where you're starting to believe crazy shit, but you're still harmless. It's like 5G is evil, Bigfoot exists, Loch Ness monster, alien abductions, Elvis lives, Prince Charles is a vampire. I'm like, that's not Prince Charles.
I can't read this, so I'm letting you read it because
Yeah.
it's too small for me. I need to get some glasses or something. I can't. I'm getting old.
No, it's just a little fuzzy. That's all. Let's see if I can zoom it in for you guys.
Well, there we
see if
go.
that helps. So, yeah. So it's not the best version of it, but we'll see if we get a better version there. So, Greta Thunberg is a time traveler. That's a new one. But anyways, so you're kind of leaving reality, but you're still not quite on the dangerous part. Now you get to science
my
now. And this
God.
is when you start getting to the absolute crazies, where it's again 5G comes back. Now you got global warming.
Pizzagate. That's a
Yeah.
fucking deep state and
Yeah.
reptilian overlords. There they are.
Exactly. And you know, soy boys, anti-vaxxers, they live in
Bill
here.
Gates
So here,
microchipping. Oh my
yeah.
goodness gracious. I know how far down the rabbit hole that person I know is. Oh Lord. He's like right at the hottest point of the pyramid.
But that's it. Yeah. So then you get to the
George
top part
Soros.
where it's just at this point here, you're like right out to completely gone. Although flat Earth, I'm not sure if I put flat Earth up here, and that's
I
just
would.
because. Yeah, but flat Earth isn't. If you want to believe flat Earth, okay, it's
There's
anti-science, sure, but you know what? You believe in flat Earth, and you trying to spill the information, even if you convince somebody else that the Earth is flat. I don't believe that harm is going to come to the person who believes it or the other person.
I think the flat earth, it has such a deep connection to all of the other things that are there. And if you are willing to believe the earth is flat, like you're that fucking dumb, you're going to be in that red zone.
So, and I think that's where we need to kind of, you know, this is where I need to sort of figure it out and discuss in regards to, because you're absolutely right. It's, so I think we're both right in the, like flat Earth itself. If this is the only thing you believe is the Earth is flat,
There's no
you know
way.
what? There's nothing dangerous and harmful about that. Like, you know, it's like, no, I believe vaccines, I believe this, but the Earth is flat. You'd probably look at me like, okay,
Yeah.
don't know how you got in that one, but it's not going to change my day in any way.
Yeah.
Even if I decide to change to believe that the Earth is flat, it's still not going to change anything about my life or anybody else's life. But it's not going to affect anybody. But I think you're right in regards to if you believe flat Earth, you're probably going to believe the rest of that shit too at that point. And I think that's
you're
what's
at
the
that point. Yes.
Mhm.
You're at that point.
Exactly.
There can't be a person, an educated person on this planet who actually thinks the earth is flat. You have gotten your brain totally washed by some sort of cult that has brought you to this point in the red, for sure.
So it's one of those things I've been kicking around as in my mind, because for some reason I like to do that, which is to try to see if I can figure out some sort of way we can score people in regards to, you know, if you believe, you know, if you were to take this as a you know, everybody starts off as a 1, as in like, you know, you believe these things are kind of conspiratorial, but they're actually based on actual evidence. Like again, the stuff in the green, it's all based on actual things that occurred, to all the way to, you know, to level 5 conspiracies. Where do you reside in this? Like, what is the, you know, if we can evaluate what people are in regards to how much they detach themselves from reality, what kind of, you know, and if you can make a successful grading system of that, what can you start to determine based on statistics? Like, is there a stronger one in the confides? Yeah, more than likely. I mean, shit, you know, between Deana and I, we can probably list off all the ones that we've heard, you know, once we were at Tupac or on Parliament or at POEC, you name it. And I mean, a fair amount of other people, you know, you go look around, there's some flat earthers. I mean, hell, go watch my video of Carl with his megaphone. It's, that alone. Carlito. Yeah, he was quite, he did like his megaphone. I haven't seen him with the megaphone since though, so I don't know what's going on there.
That's good. That's good for all of us, including him.
I think he's shy.
I think he only
Anyways.
likes to have his megaphone if I'm there.
Possibly. I think he likes to get your attention. I'm telling you. I think he likes you. They all like you to a certain extent. It's kind of a weird relationship.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. I don't wish any of them harm. I will harm them, though, if they touch me. Just, okay?
Touch
That's
you
not being
again.
hypocritical.
Touch you again.
Touch me
Dirksen?
again and I'll harm you. Yeah. Dirksen doesn't get any more chances either. Like,
Oh, I'm not surprised. Yeah, no,
I
I'm
gave
pretty
him
sure
2
he's
chances and he cried about both of them, saying that I hurt him. Dirksen, that was nothing. Okay? That was nothing. Don't fucking touch me. Don't touch my shit.
Yeah. Anyways, we're coming up to 9. I think we're gonna wrap it
past
up
9.
here. Someone's probably gonna start passing out soon.
I'm totally going to pass. I'm going to have a little bit of apple pie and then I'm going to go to bed. And I don't care if you're not supposed to eat apple pie before bed. I'm doing it.
Just do it.
It's
Yeah,
happening.
like anybody can tell you anything what to do. I've seen security guards shit themselves because of this. Christ. Yeah. I'm not the one going to tell you anything
I'm not
to do.
trying to scare anybody. It's not my goal.
No.
I'd rather be friends with everybody, but I know that's not possible. Can't be friends with liars.
It's true.
It's just not possible. Or
I think that's the
racist.
nicest one right there to end on.
The family got together for Brother Carl and did an intervention.
Carl, can you sit, Carl? Yeah, we just want to the bullhorn. Sorry, Carl, but it's just not working.
Yeah.
It just can you put it down for us? Thank you.
They probably watched the live and the recording that you did of Carl and said, "Okay, no, we gotta stop this. We gotta not let this be a thing."
Well, it was you mentioned it. You mentioned because I remember hearing that. And I heard it in the recording too later on. Because you asked somebody like, should he have the bullhorn? Or like, why did you guys give him why did you guys give him the bullhorn? And there was a girl that said,
Linda.
it's like, he's entertaining when he has it.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's not wrong.
No, but it's not a good look, you guys. It's just not a good look.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. I'm going to bed.
And we shall chat with you. We'll be back again on Wednesday. So we'll have something more prepped up, and I will see if I can do another live stream from Parliament next Saturday. And until then, let us know. Subscribe, follow. Make sure you follow us. Also, join up in the auto activism. Let us know everything else you guys want to see.
Yeah.
And
maybe if nothing comes up, we can talk about Jeremy McKenzie and Stand for Thee as well, because they've been active as well. So maybe we can look a little deeper into their shenanigans and talk about that, because we haven't.
McKenzie, I'm a little less interested in watching, just because there's a lot of people watching in regards to McKenzie. He is a very hot one in regards to what's going on. Stand for Thee, I do have a bit of interest in regards to some of the craziness. There is a video that did come out, and I'm looking through it. I'd like to do a response to it.
Nice.
It's from Jane Sharf. She did her summary of POEC, which
she was sharping her summary out.
She sharped it. So she's at least a level. Oh no.
She's orange. Just say it. She's fucking orange. Red.
I cannot confirm.
Hot.
She's definitely between yellow and orange. I'm looking up at the chart here. She's definitely between yellow and orange. I know Reb is definitely red because she's confirmed on video, and I think even McCheese has sent out some information in regards to it. She's a flat earther. Anyways.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll definitely see back. Confirming, yeah. It's like, it's not a globe. I'm like, oh god, you just confirmed that, did you? Anywho, so longest goodbye ever. But
bye everybody.
Very ADD. Good night, everybody.
Night.